Good morning. Welcome to Grana's Garden Stories. I'm Grana, and I was going to tell you a story about what I think about church these days. It's a Sunday morning right now, and had iced coffee. But I was thinking that church to me, well, or anything that I do, it has to be outside of home or anything. I have to do it with purpose, and I have to be able to get something out of it, or something like that, and so I feel that church should be directed. It shouldn't be about donuts, coffee, chit-chatting, looking your best, or being all dressed up and uncomfortable, trying to fit in with everybody else and just, hi, how you doing? I mean, that's what it's became to me. And it's also, I've been to churches that, different churches, different beliefs and stuff, they do healing and stuff like that. And they do laying on of hands and in the last 6 years of since I had my stroke, when I first had my stroke, I went to a church that had that kind of thing, and they and I just got the feeling, the impression, the spiritual feeling about it, and it just did not feel right when they would just touch, everybody would get up and they would all go touch somebody and they'd say a prayer over them, or they would pray for things that just wouldn't make any sense, because you have to do something to make it better. The church, the people that pray, they can help you, but if you don't change your ways, you don't change anything about your practice of, there's not going to be any long-lasting healing. And I'm about, actually doing something, actually doing something pointed, I guess, I don't know how to say it, but so I think that going to church, which is about worshiping God, I would rather be studying, and I would be a participant, reading of the Word, discussing the Word, and talking about it, and then it gets to be where that we go through the process of critical thinking about everything that we're doing, because I think God gave us a brain to critically think. And I don't I know the church will say that the Bible says don't lean on your own understanding and such things like that, but I think that means that doesn't mean not to use your brain and not to think about what you're doing, and that you have each person has their own ability to think, but the way that they're eating and the things that they do in their life complicate their thinking, and then they just end up being followers because everything else is taking a priority, and then that is not using what God has given you. You've been born with your gifts, your talents. You're beautiful, and you're royal, unique to God, and and that I've had a hard time since I've had my stroke and I had my car accident, and that's being, and then before I done other things that it's all keeping me from doing things the way that I would do them, but I understand them now more than I did before. And well, I just wanted to say that this morning because we waste so much time. When I used to read and stuff, I'd get a lot of stuff out of the books, and I would take out what was important and leave the rest behind. That's a saying that I got from being involved with the AA and the alcoholic, or the whatever it is for when you're a codependent, because you have alcoholics in your life, and you want to give up control because it's not good for you because you just are as sick as they are. They have some good concepts, and then but they didn't tell me that I could do that with their information. I can take what I need, and well, I guess when you went to a meeting or they said something, they said take what you need and leave the rest behind. And that's always stuck with me about reading too, and my mother, she used to tell me that because some of the things she would read, I would question her. I mean, some people, they do go too far, and then you wonder why they shouldn't be reading that, and you think that it's influencing them in a bad way. But really, they have to process it somehow, and so I don't think that forbidding them to read something is very good either. That's just certain behaviors we don't tolerate in society. We don't tolerate people being mean to each other in physical, mental, or sexual, or any way like that. We're not supposed to tolerate it, and they're supposed to be free to be who they are, but not in a abusive way towards others. So as long as they're not hurting others, then it's all right. And then if they're our kids, we have to protect our kids until they're mature enough to take what they are reading, and then we have to feed them right so they can be as healthy as they can be and think with their mind. But if they don't have a good enough, if we don't feed them with fat and protein and stuff, that they need, we just keep going for these false, fake diets, false fats, false proteins, then there's no reason, there's no no wonder that children are born with the chronic diseases that they are, because it is our fault. It is, I mean, it's the general community's fault, or whoever's fault, when they know that this doesn't feel right. There's this, it's because God did not make us to be as all the things that we see in this world. That's not the suffering that we are to go through. We're not to go through the terrible, terrible things that are going on in this country, in this world. It's just awful. And so much of it has been, I mean, I don't know why they have proof right here on YouTube. They have good quality people talking about how people have healed from this and that because they had good nutrition, they had good protein, they ate, or they done the elimination diet, the GAPS diet, and they eliminated things on their diet and then they ate low carb, or and they ate plenty of fat to feed all the hormones and stuff in our body and the microbiome, because I guess we only have like 10% of us is human cells. The rest of it is bacteria, or not bacteria, but it's microbes. We are filled with microbes, and they change all the time. And I'm not prepared to give a speech on that, but we don't even give children a chance, and then we wonder why we have behavior problems, and that's what all the psychiatric disorders come from. They come from not getting the nutrition they need, and there's a war going on in their body, in their brain, in their gut. It just makes me sad. It's just, oh my goodness, it just makes me so sad. And that's the stuff they ought to be talking about at church. They shouldn't be giving donuts and coffee and taking up donations for the food bank that's filled with cake mixes and puddings and all the kind of junk food that is bad for you. I can't be I can't be a participant in that. So I just go to the Bible study that I have now on Wednesdays, because it's the best that I can do to worship God, to study His Word, to keep the Sabbath. The Sabbath is not a day of the week. It's an attitude. It's a serving Him. And I don't know whoever came up with the Bible years and years ago, but they say they know, but we did not witness it. We don't have a chance to be a doubting Tom. We don't have a chance to be one of his fishermen or nothing, but we didn't witness all the dietary changes that we had, or the way they used to eat. We didn't witness. It's just a mystery when we're born. And why aren't we trying to solve that mystery? Why are we going around just acting like we're just la 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 la. It's just crazy that we don't even pay attention to the things that matter. And we're in financial crisis right now. I can't even afford to go to town all the time. I only go once a week on Wednesdays, and then I go short distances during the rest of the week pretty much all the time now. But sometimes I go for chiropractor appointment, or I go for a massage. And but most of the other time I'm out here. I haven't been traveling very much at all in the last more than half a year. And now it's even harder because I got to save money to do whatever happens here. I mean, my house, my septic needs something done, and there's always something that I need done. I need to redo everything. And I don't got money, but I'm still trying to save money for that. But we have to do things with purpose and be able to see the outcome. We can't just go and take prayer requests, take a list and take prayer requests, and then we have meals together, and it all is just like it's another social club, it's just, and it's not just how I feel. It is the way it is. It's the way I know it is. I've been going to church since I was a little girl, and I'm not making this stuff up. I know what I've seen and what I've heard and the results of it, and I've tried to get help in all different kinds of ways. I'm not talking about financial, I'm talking about spiritual. And nothing worked unless I was involved and I made a decision to do something about what I was having a problem with. That's the only time that could not sit there and just, I don't mean sit there, but be there and just let it happen. There's something about the physical action and the mental action that you take towards a goal that makes it happen. Now, I don't know what everybody else claims. They claim that Jesus or God did this and did that for them, but I don't know their experience, but I do know my experience. And I guess it's something like God helps those who help themselves, or something like that. But I know I can't be too complicated about it or too harsh about that, because we are human and we do have addictions, and we do have quite a bit of sin in our lives. And sin is is being off track of what you should be, or what you would be best. It's not something that is just so evil that you can't even look at it. It is a problem that you're having that you need to work through and get through and get on the right track. If you are just hiding your sins from people and the things that you're doing from, it's just like a psychiatric phenomenon. It's a band-aid. You cover up one place and then it bulges out another place. It just comes out different ways. And I'm interested in getting at the root problem right now, getting right there in the root problem and solving it and taking care of it now. But very few people are like that, I guess, but they want to, but I don't know. Once it gets to so far gone, they're just, they're thinking just, how can we have critical thinkers or people who have their brains or people who have a sense of stability with people that don't have a sense of that? It doesn't really mix very well. But that's back to that Serenity Prayer. God, grant me this serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And accepting hardship as the path to peace. That's the new line I memorized now, but I can't remember the rest of it. But I know that I love God, whatever his name is. I call him Father because I never had a father, a biological father. I had a man that married my mother when she was pregnant with me, but he wasn't a father to me for very long, and he mistreated me. But then he was mistreated when he was a child, and this goes round and round, I guess. But I wanted it to stop. I wanted it to stop. I got off that merry-go-round. I did not want to go round and around anymore. It was making me dizzy, making me sick. But it's been a long haul to try to be something better. But you have a good day. Do something to make yourself healthy. Do something to make yourself happy. And keep growing.